everybody, welcome back to Planet Coaster and to the project Acacial 2. In the last episode we extended the path toward the main walkway and with that toward the Wild West area. Today we are continuing the path southward, finally reaching the transition into the toy area. I'd better place a few signs so people know where to go in this maze. Of course, this is not a real maze. Guests should be able to find the way back to the main path and eventually to the entrance, right? Right? Well, there may be no hotels in Planker 2 yet, but they certainly won't starve. So what are we building today? I'm extending this part of the town a bit further so the backside of the board slide stays within the city area and doesn't stick into the next themed zone. Oh, that means I do have to work on the back of these buildings and add windows and such. I was hoping to skip that, since I assumed no guests would ever see this side anyway. But clearly, the situation has changed. I'll take care of that off-screen. Back to the buildings we're constructing today. I want a block of houses with a courtyard in the middle. They'll be two-story buildings. Partly because I've said many times that I'm a big fan of narrow city streets, especially when they're lined with brick buildings. And partly because it makes it much easier to block the guest's view of the next themed area. That area will also connect to the main path, of course. From this district, you reach it through a small arched passageway. On the other side, at the entrance to this building complex, I'll push an additional structure into the building to break up the blocky shape. Oh goodness, I really use that blocky design argument a lot, don't I? Well then. Anyway, let me distract you from that by pointing out that this is another episode divisible by 5, which means we get to enjoy the Planet Coaster's beautiful soundtrack again. It may be a bit older by now, but I still love listening to it. I'll be right back. again, I think we can officially consider this part of town finished. I left the backside of the building that leads into the toy world open for now. We'll start playing with the toys in the next episode. Yeah, that's not entirely true. I admit it, I couldn't resist. We are already working on the first building near the main path. From the front it looks like a normal structure, but on the back we are already experimenting with pieces from the Toybox set. Can we talk about the walls for a moment? I feel like using the plaster walls was actually a good idea, but I tint them a bit darker so they don't glow quite as much in the sunlight. The toy colors show up nicely on these walls, and I think the Viking stones I pushed into them look pretty good. Speaking of stones, oh no. When I recorded the cinematic shots, I noticed I should go back to the factory. The rear wall is very visible and is currently just a flat brick wall. That's not enough. It needs at least some windows. It might still look uniform, but at least it won't be quite so clean. Yeah, I'll take care of that next time. For today we have enough content to get some nice footage for the cinematic shots, and we'll take a look at those in just a moment. Folks, thanks for stopping by, have a great weekend, and see you next time in Acacial 2.